It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's a very good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to it. This is our Tuesday show, Top Hit Tuesday. Happy Africa Day, everybody. Hopefully you had a good one yesterday. We are back, bad, ready to go. The team that is here for you: Mike Madoda, Alois Bunjira, Simba Pupajena. We've got our producer, Shonta Firenyika. My name is Barry Manandi. And on the home front, our Giants Dynamos officially released their 2020 fans replica jersey yesterday, and it has generated a lot of debate, with some fans questioning if it can actually be referred to as a replica jersey. We'll hear the thoughts of the ZiFM Sport team a bit later on.
We also have plenty of international sports news in our Formula One report, proudly brought to you by Zimoko. Haas boss Gunther Steiner believes that four-time Formula One champion Sebastian Vettel will not take a career risk by signing for a midfield team in 2021. We'll also take you around the world in 60, where we'll take off in Australia, where Mitchell Starc believes the International Cricket Council, the ICC's recommendation of a temporary ban on using saliva to shine the ball could hand batsmen a significant advantage. In England, Tyson Fury has warned Deontay Wilder is fighting to prove his worth in their third meeting and still retains his one-punch threat. And in the United States, NBA legend Charles Barkley believes the suspended NBA season will come to a conclusion, citing knowledge obtained from his bosses at Turner Sports.
We'll take in our play of the day, and it's Top Hit Tuesday, so prepare for a catchy track. Then we dive into the beautiful game where the Bundesliga is front and center, as Borussia Dortmund's Mats Hummels and Axel Witsel look set to start in tonight's Der Klassiker against leaders Bayern Munich, with the Ruhr Valley club attempting to cut the gap and stay in the running for the title. In the Premier League, clubs are expected to give the go-ahead to the introduction of Phase 2 of training tomorrow, prompting hopes that a date for the return of competition could be agreed by the end of the week. In La Liga, Atletico Madrid winger Angel Correa on Monday said that a return to football is what we all need ahead of a possible La Liga restart in mid-June. And in Serie A, AC Milan have insisted Zlatan Ibrahimovic suffered a calf injury in training on Monday after reports he had a suspected ruptured Achilles. It's Top Hit Tuesday, which feels like a manic Monday, so let's get into it. Our power play, Better Days, One Republic and Kia.
The home front. Local sports news and analysis. From Rufaro to Barberfields, Mandava to Nyamunga, all the perfect moments in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League come together on ZiFM Sport.
Our local sports news roundup starts with the contentious news that Harare Giants Dynamos Football Club, 7 million Ainangozi Chazunguza, officially released their 2020 fans replica jersey yesterday, and it has generated a lot of debate, with some fans questioning if it can actually be referred to as a replica jersey. The club's Twitter handle announced that fans regalia is now available at a cost of $10 and also provided contact details. The official release of the 2020 fans replica jersey comes at a time Dynamos had begun steps to commercialize and widen their revenue streams beyond gate revenue. Dynamos had begun exploring ways to enhance brand visibility through merchandise sales, particularly the club's replica jerseys and branded shirts. Can we call this a replica jersey, Alois Bunjira?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is good. At least they thought about it. We've always said that, clubs need to look for other revenue generating projects. They can't just rely on gate taking. But then when you do it, you want to do it exactly the way it's supposed to be done so that you can maximize on the revenue. So when you look at that, replica, you know what replica means? Replica actually means that you are selling a jersey that the playing squad is going to be using on the soccer field. I don't know if that's what they're going to be using. So for me, I think the timing of the launch was not perfect, because they are not generating enough attention to the jersey, because people are still busy worried about Corona, and we still don't know when the league is going to start. They needed to actually create excitement about the jersey first, and actually assure the fans that this is actually going to be the jersey that they're going to be using. So to do that, they would have needed their players to actually model the jersey. But your question is, can we call it replica? We need standards, guys. We need standards. The idea is good, yes, but how about the standards and way to do it? Let's do it properly. Let's do it with the high standards that we.
So, Alois, is it a replica jersey?
I would to know if it's a replica jersey, because I don't know if the playing squad is going to be using it.
And Mike, you always ask yourself questions when something is launched, and there are more questions than answers. In truth, if a club rolls out a jersey, and I'm a bit passionate about this, obviously because of allegiances, but if a club rolls out something, the only question that should be asked is how much. Now, this has raised all sorts of questions.
Exactly, Barry.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. And for me, there are a number of things that I think will need to be considered in this conversation. First of all, the very fact that it's Dynamos Football Club, the biggest and most successful team in the country. A team that, for football banter, boasts to have 7 million fans. But it isn't far from the truth, because that is the stature of Dynamos in Zimbabwe. It's also a club that is located in the financial heart of Zimbabwe. That is in Harare. It's a club that is patronized by many people, big and small, wealthy and not so well-to-do. So by painting that picture, I'm trying to say that Dynamos has a ready market. Dynamos is a club that shouldn't be struggling so far as the market is concerned. What their conversation or the conversation they should have been around offering the right sort of product to that market and capitalizing on that. When it comes to the business of replica shirts, I'm in full agreement with Alois when he says that it should have been done properly. It's not about the idea. Everyone knows that, yes, there is an added revenue stream when it comes to selling merchandise and selling jerseys. Everyone knows that. Even the little nipper off the street, or even the little grade 7 kid knows that's an added revenue stream. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that. So we're not going to give you any credit for starting to do something that you should have started doing 25 years ago.
For doing your job.
Yeah, for doing your job. So there is no credit to the Dynamos executive for selling merchandise, because it's standard fare at whatever level of the football ecosystem. So, but the things that they didn't consider, Barry, first of all, are the fact that look at what they call the replica jersey. First of all, I don't think by definition it's a replica jersey, because it's not what Dynamos is going to be wearing. So let's remove it from that conversation and say it's a club T-shirt. Now, that club T-shirt, does it really represent the hopes and aspirations of the biggest and most successful team in the country? Does it represent Dynamos well? Is it a product that a fan wants to be associated with? Are people going to be clambering all over themselves to go and buy that shirt? Does it appeal to every segment of society as far as Dynamos fanhood is concerned? And I think the big answer is no.
Mike has asked some pertinent questions there, Simba. I'm not going to add anything to them. I'm going to ask you to answer them. Is it attractive to a Dynamos fan? Even though the price point seems decent, is it something that somebody's going to pull a hamstring running to go and get?
I think what I'll also take from Mike's take is that he's mentioned...
I see what you did there.
Pardon the pun.
He's mentioned the element of segmentation, because every time we look at Dynamos, the thing that always comes to mind is 7 million whatever fabled supporters.
Don't say whatever. Put some respect on it, brother. It's 7 million fans.
So of that 7 million, we also need to realize that there's different stratifications of each of that. The buying power, the person who's going to have some discernment in terms of the quality of the product, in terms of where the product is going to be purchased from. But if we're still stumbling on basic things like what Alois has already mentioned, price, then already they've missed the trick. And then the next issue is in terms of distribution. Yes, I then went and checked, I think, on Twitter. And unfortunately, the other thing, what you're saying, best practice then stipulates that you control the narrative as the big club that you're supposed to be in terms of advising your public. What I've seen is that most of this debate is centered around unofficial channels. And those unofficial channels are now then directing the narrative. So a lot of the backlash that's coming towards Dynamos, they're not even in front of it in terms of trying to navigate these choppy waters. So they keep adding to the mess. In terms of the quality of it, I don't think it's going to attract more of your high-end fan base. A lot of people are thinking just because it's a numbers game, let's go for the lowest common denominator and give the guys that sit, Vietnam and wherever. But unfortunately, even there, they recognize quality. As much as their allegiances might be more driven by their buying power, if you give them a good product, then those hamstrings that you're talking about, Barry, start to get busted because people are trying to be associated with something that is definite quality and a lot of thought process has gone into. So far, it just looks like, yes, it's an idea that a lot of people were talking about, saying you need to expand your revenue streams and things like that. But in terms of maximizing that, they've fallen short quite by some way.
Alois, you have had various levels of exposure to football at all over the world, and Dynamos is touting the gospel of commercialization, and commercialization speaks of having those various tiered revenue streams, which goes beyond match day revenue. Let me not say match day revenue. Let me say gate takings. This is a step in that direction, and you've got to say to yourself, it's probably a misstep, isn't it, Alois? If we want to call a spade a spade.
Yeah, I would have loved to call it a good step. Like we said, but Mike clearly stated that, it's a step that they should have done 25 years ago. I agree, so we don't give credit for that. What we would have given them credit for is if they had come up with a good product, number one, and come up with ways to actually launch, better ways to launch. It's talked about, unofficial platforms that are all over the place. The way that they do it, that's why, off air we're talking about it, consultancy. Consult people, work with other people, work with other organizations that have done this, that know this, so that you get to know how to do this thing exactly the way it should be. Our problem in Zimbabwe, probably, I have noticed that we are always looking at the lowest position, at the lowest people, at the poorest fan, and we actually consider that person as the football fan. We actually look at football as a poor sport, whereas it's not supposed to be the case. When they made that t-shirt, they were probably looking at, like Simba said, Vietnam and all. They forget that the MD of a big corporate in the country, the chief executives of big corporates in this country are also football fans. They grew up, some of them, in the ghetto as well. They just moved to Borodale when they started working, but they actually grew up in the ghetto. They are football fans. They grew up playing Chikweshe just like all of us. So they are football fans. So when you are catering for them, they also want quality. And like Mike said, when you have got quality, even the person that is in Upward, that is in St. Mary's, will look for the money, will look around when you've got the quality. So make that quality attractive so that the person that struggles to get money can actually go around and look for the money. Go to South Africa, go to Diepsloot, go to Alexandra. We talked about it with Mike as well. They are wearing the Kaizer Chiefs quality jersey that the team is using at FNB Stadium in a Nedbank Cup final. They are wearing it in Diepsloot. They are wearing it in, where did they get it? They made the sacrifice to get that jersey because it's attractive, and they made the effort to get that jersey. Why? Because the club made it appealing. They branded themselves very well so that they can
And Alois, and I think that point is definitely made. But I just cut you off there because I want to delve a little bit deeper into, Mike, the issue of look. And Alois, and I understand why you said it, Alois. You're saying, they're fans who grew up in the ghettos. But are we guilty of defining a football fan as having been someone who was in the ghetto, someone akatamba chikweshe? Surely a football fan is a football fan, Mike.
Yeah. I think that's where the problem is, Barry. And also, it's a bit of a fallacy to assume that everyone who is sitting in Vietnam is from the ghetto. I for many years before I started doing media work, and even deep into the time I was actually working and so forth, I used to sit on those stands. I used to sit with the Highlanders fans, the away end, the city end. So there are a lot of people who will go and sit in Vietnam, will sit in Soweto, will sit in Mpangweni, because that's where they want to sit. There are lots of Caps United fans who go and sit at Bay 12, 13, 14, not because they can't afford to be in the VIP section, but because that's where they want to sit. They want to sit with the Caps United faithful for sentimental reasons. So I think we should just view the fan as a fan. And then there are certain initiatives, like you see globally, where, for example, when you're now talking about executive suites, when you're talking about entertainment, when you're talking about that sort of thing, then you are catering for a certain market segment. But when it comes to things like jerseys, when it comes to things like the entry to stadiums, rest of the ground, etc., to be honest, Alois is so right that we go for the lowest common denominator instead of just planning properly and structuring our commercial propositions properly.
So there we are. The studio team has resolved that it is not a replica jersey, rather it is a club t-shirt. So Dynamos launched a club t-shirt yesterday. You can catch it for $10. The unfortunate thing is not in the regular retail outlets. You have to phone a friend. See the flyer, you'll get the numbers there. You phone up and you'll be able to get that Dynamos jersey.
You see, that's another problem buried right there. There's no outlet. There's no outlet for it. Why must I phone? I must just walk in. There are 2 seconds of a flea market, Avondale. Maybe you can end up a store number 25. That's where it is. So that the fan can walk in and get the top. Not ask phone somebody to look. You see now. It's badly planned.
Hi, I'm Trevor Nyakani, the Blue Bulls and Springbok prop. And now you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Right, let's keep you up to date with what's happening on the home front, starting with rugby news, where despite their game facing a long wait on the sidelines after being deemed too risky to resume, the Zimbabwe Rugby Union are plotting a massive rebound when the sport eventually gets the green light to continue. For the Zimbabwe Rugby Union, the lockdown has not been about resting on their laurels or mourning and groaning while they await the green light from government and health authorities. Zimbabwe Rugby Union Vice President Southern Region Martin Shone said that his constituency is yearning for a return to action. Shone, however, insists they would stick to the guidelines provided by the government and health authorities for rugby to bounce back. In netball news, Rainbow Amateur Netball League Secretary General Moses Gukurume says he is worried about the players' welfare as the inactivity caused by the coronavirus-induced lockdown has deprived them of their source of income. The league boasts a vibrant sponsorship package and was slowly gaining momentum prior to the lockdown. The league is, however, making plans to help players during this period. And we wrap it up with some football news where ZIFA have revealed that they will not ask Warriors coach to take a pay cut due to the coronavirus pandemic, since they are still in a comfortable financial position to meet his monthly salary as per his contract. It is believed that Zdravko Logarosic earns a salary of $7,000 per month, although his package was never made public when the association unveiled him as the coach of the senior national football team in February. Last week, Logan said that he does not feel too comfortable to receive a salary for something he has not worked for and wants international football to bounce back soon.
Hi, this is Mike Madoda, and you can catch me and the team for all the latest breaking news out of the world of sport, local as well as international, on your favorite station, my station, your station, ZiFM. We are Z-Team on ZiFM Sport.
Z. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play. From sunny Melbourne to the streets of Monaco, the deserts of Bahrain to the jungles of Brazil. Get up to speed on the Formula One Report. The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by Zimoco, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. Zimoco, specialized service for special brands.
It's a Tuesday and Zimoco is back, and we have some great deals on the service of your older model Mercedes-Benz vehicles, because at Zimoco we care about all our brands of vehicles regardless of how old they are. If Barry was a car, we would still take you, buddy. Now, did you know that if looked after and maintained properly, a Mercedes-Benz can last a lifetime? So if you own a C-Class, W203 or W204 manufactured between 2001 and 2014, we will welcome you with open hands. Or if you own an E-Class, W211 or W212 manufactured between 2002 and 2016, there is room for you too. An S-Class, W221 manufactured between 06 and 2013, or an ML164 manufactured between 2006 and 2011. We have a special offer on the minor service of all those models, starting from just $285.
Now, this minor service includes air filter, oils, labor and consumables, and in my case, hip and knee replacement. Plus, may vary slightly on engine. Price may vary a little on engine size. If you are not sure whether your vehicle qualifies for this special offer, please call one of our service advisors on 754-303 up to 9 with your engine or chassis number, and they will be able to quote you on your vehicle service. Don't go elsewhere or cut corners. Let Zimoco keep your Mercedes-Benz running the way the manufacturer is intended, and let Zimoco keep your Mercedes-Benz on the road for your lifetime. Also, don't forget, the first 50 customers to bring their vehicle into Zimoco for a service at either our Borrowdale Service Centre or our Douglas Road Southerton Workshop will receive a 20-litre diesel or petrol coupon. Hurry, coupons are running out. This offer also applies to new customers who bring in their old model Mercedes-Benz for a service. Stay tuned. We'll be talking about that and so much more.
In Formula One news, Haas boss Gunther Steiner believes four-time Formula One champion Sebastian Vettel will not take a career risk by signing for a midfield team in 2021. With Carlos Sainz coming in at Ferrari next year, Vettel has been left without a seat, and title contending options for the German appear limited, with former team Red Bull distancing themselves and Mercedes likely to stick with Lewis Hamilton as their star driver. Listen, we knew that at some point, Simba, that it was going to be end of the road for Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari, but there are very few people that saw the termination of this relationship coming so soon, and now it looks like Vettel is in a place where he's not going to have a lot of top suitors and may well have to either retire or go to one of these mid-table type teams.
Yeah, sadly so, because I think when he moved from Red Bull to Ferrari, initially it was almost a match made in heaven, a driver that had all the quality and the class to then finally help land Scuderia Ferrari, that all elusive title. But then it just hasn't happened. Sometimes his driving's been good, but the car hasn't been good enough. Sometimes the car hasn't been good enough, the car's been good enough, but then his driving has let things down. Unfortunately, what then happened for him is that continued to happen even with different partners. The young man, Charles Leclerc, then comes on the scene and starts to dominate him, which then puts his nose out of joint. So even in the best of positions, if he was leaving Ferrari right now, but on a better sort of footing, I think there'll be a few other teams that would be looking at him and thinking, let's sacrifice a seat to get him in. But with how he's been dominated by the young upstart, it's much more difficult. So now, unfortunately, like you've said, retirement might be the option that comes up unless something happens in silly season and another top seat is made available.
And of course, just to take you back, Vettel started his career with Sauber before shining at Toro Rosso and then winning his 4 consecutive championships with Red Bull. He joined Ferrari in 2015, but has been unable to end the Scuderia's trophy drought. Barry, the probably with Red Bull distancing themselves, Mercedes, people, they haven't issued any statement. We know that the team is, of course, the world champion Lewis Hamilton. His place, to be honest, should be intact, and he'll leave on his own terms. Is Valtteri Bottas vulnerable in any way?
I don't think so. I think Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton have struck up a love-hate chemistry relationship, which has actually spurred the Mercedes on, and we rate the relationship between the two drivers, but ultimately it works. So for me, I think Mercedes are in a happy place. I doubt that they're going to be looking towards Seb Vettel coming to the Silver Arrows. So for me, like you said, two Sims, I suspect that Seb Vettel is going to have to settle for a midfield team because Mercedes, I think, are happy.
Okay, so some good news as we wrap it up here, courtesy of Zimoco. Our Zimoco Bordeaux showroom is open and we have some great deals on our Jeep range of vehicles. The all-new compact Jeep Campus, the large luxurious Jeep Grand Cherokee, and the powerful Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT are all on special offer while stocks last. So please visit our showroom at Sam Levy's Village today and check out this awesome array. Maybe not today, because if you go now, we are closed. But you might want to try and go there first thing tomorrow morning, and you'll be able to check out our awesome array of Jeep vehicles. Jeep, there is only one. Have a good week, Zimbabwe, and stay safe.
The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by Zimoco, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. Zimoco, specialized service for special brands.
Hi, my name is Sean Williams, Zimbabwe cricket captain. You're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
All right, Around the World in 60 is proudly brought to you by DSTV, and we start down under in Australia, where Mitchell Starc believes the International Cricket Council ICC's recommendation of a temporary ban on using saliva to shine the ball could hand batsmen a significant advantage. The ongoing coronavirus pandemic means the traditional method of spit polishing to produce movement through the air has been deemed too great a risk by the ICC, but the use of sweat will not be removed due to a lesser risk of passing on the virus. Bowlers could require some assistance to get the ball swinging and ensure equal competition, Starc suggested. On to England we go, where Tyson Fury warns that Deontay Wilder is fighting to prove his worth in their third meeting and still retains his one-punch threat. Fury dominated Wilder to claim WBC heavyweight championship in February after their first fight was scored a draw. Wilder intends to exercise his right to share the ring for a third time. Fury insisted that his fun-loving shenanigans will continue throughout his second reign as world heavyweight champion. Let's wrap it up in the US of A, where NBA legend Charles Barkley, Sir Charles Chucky, believes the suspended NBA season will come to a conclusion, citing knowledge obtained from his bosses at Turner Sports. A concerned Barkley laid out a possible ugly scenario for the NBA postseason if it is played this summer amid the coronavirus pandemic. The Hall of Famer believes teams should be eliminated from the playoffs if one of their players tests positive for coronavirus. Now on DSTV, the movie of the day tonight is the 2017 production of 89. It is a story about Arsenal snatching the championship title from Liverpool at Anfield in the last minute of the last game of the 1988-89 season. As Sean smiles like a Cheshire cat, he'll be watching that one, no doubt. Don't miss it. If you want to watch it, it's at 8:30 p.m. It's on SuperSport 1.
Hi, my name is Rudoni Shamba, Mytoria's super striker. You're listening to ZiFM Sport.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
Football has returned in Germany and the action has been absolutely fantastic. This past weekend we saw two of Europe's rising stars in Kai Havertz as well as Timo Werner, sharing 5 goals between them as they underlined their status as two of the hottest prospects in the game at the moment. And this evening we'll be able to witness two teams that have title aspirations go at it in Die Klassiker, and Borussia Dortmund's Mats Hummels and Alex Witsel look set to start in tonight's clash against leaders of Bayern Munich, with the Ruhr Valley club attempting to cut the gap and stay in the running for the title. Second place, Borussia Dortmund 4 points behind the Bavarians, and without injured captain Marco Reus and defender Dan Axel Zagadou, know that failure to win could prove costly with 7 games left in the campaign. Let's hear from Borussia Dortmund coach Lucien Favre.
Ja, das ist immer speziell gegen Bayern zu spielen. Das ist Bayern und
It's always something special to play against Bayern. It's Bayern and we won here a year ago. We won in the Super Cup and we want to continue. Bayern actually is on a very high level, but as I've said before, to me, every team has its weaknesses and its strengths. That's clear. You don't have to talk about it anymore. Bayern is Bayern, but we are there too. We have won here a year ago, also in the Super Cup, and we want to keep going in this direction.
This is the game that Borussia Dortmund have to win to have any realistic prospect of lifting the title. The maths is very simple. With them being 4 points behind, they lose. They go 7 points behind, and I'm sure we can agree that it will be done and dusted if that's the gap. But if they win, they draw within 1 point of Bayern Munich.
Yes, Mike, you know me and my love for competition, you know, my love for a photo finish, you know, so for me, I'm rooting for Borussia Dortmund all the way, not because I'm a Borussia Dortmund fan, but because I want the photo finish, I want the excitement of the league going down to the wire. You know, like you rightfully said, if they lose this one, it's done and dusted. You know, it's not easy to beat Bayern Munich in Germany. You know, they will maintain, they might draw 1 or 2 games here and there, but for them to lose a 7-point lead, I don't see that happening. So Borussia Dortmund, they need to win so that they can actually maintain that 1 point game, so that we can actually go into the way. Then you can actually look at the situation whereby they can think maybe they can draw points somewhere else while they maintain their consistency. No, the worst that they can have is draw, you know, so that maybe they can keep that 4-point gap. At least they can still say we are still with a chance. But also for Borussia Dortmund, it goes all the way down, out through the window. You know, for them, they have a good squad. They've got exciting youngsters that can actually, we are looking forward to in the future. But you know what? If they keep pace with Bayern Munich, it gives us hope. It gives us something to look forward to, you know, even if it means this season. You know, they need to take them down. Everybody in Germany knows that Borussia Dortmund at this very moment, they've got exciting youngsters and they've got the squad for the future if they don't dismantle it with transfers. That is, you know, so we need that fourth finish so that we can actually get into the next season fresh and knowing that Borussia Dortmund have got a strong squad for Europe. I'm not sure about winning the league. If they maintain, they might just snap it, but Munich are very tough opponents, and it makes it very difficult. But maintaining that 1-point gap, I think, is good for football in Germany.
Right now, the last time that these two teams met, Barry Dortmund humbled 4-0 by Bayern Munich, and this time they're meeting at a time when Dortmund are playing some really good football. They've added a couple of really good players in Erling Haaland and Emre Can, and they'll be looking to restore some pride after they were humbled by their rivals from Munich. But the difference will be that celebrated 12th man that is usually the bane of many visiting teams when they play Borussia Dortmund is not going to be there.
Yeah, without the yellow wall, it's a bit of a tough ask. It would have been even more difficult without the news that you gave us that Mats Hummels and Axel Witsel will be back. I think they'll be very pleased with that, because you could see even the last time out, Mats Hummels, when he started the game and then was taken off at halftime, and they had to play Emre Can as a centre half. and he did well in that position, but we all know that's not his favorite position. So to have Mats Hummels back, to have the midfield engine in Axel Witsel's back, it sort of evens it out, as it were, because if you look at the opposition in red, Bayern Munich are also playing some scintillating football, so it makes for a very entertaining contest potentially, given what's at stake, especially given that Dortmund has got to come out and try and get all 3 points. I don't think a draw is going to serve them much in these stakes, because they'll remain 4 points behind. So it's got to be a win.
It's got to be a win for Borussia Dortmund, according to Barry. Now, former Mexico international and football pundit Alejandro Moreno, he believes that Bayern are their own rivals. Let's hear from him.
Bayern Munich, and the only real rival to Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich themselves, and perhaps the danger of complacency. And we saw that early on in the second half against Eintracht Frankfurt, when they go up 3-0 and you think, okay, from here on out, they're just going to destroy this team. And for a period of 10 minutes, they lost concentration, they lost focus, they were thinking about something else, probably thinking about Borussia Dortmund and just kind of looking ahead. They got complacent, didn't pay attention to details, and allow Eintracht Frankfurt into the game, or back into the game. That didn't last for long, because once again, when Bayern Munich decided to start playing, then the difference was very clear between the two teams, and you see the full potential of Bayern Munich. I just think Bayern Munich is much better than everybody else, and Dortmund, you have to think about the fact that the potential absence of Mats Hummels and what does that mean for that team. And then defensively, they continue to have their issues. And I just think whenever they get tested, you're going to find that this is a team that will allow goals. The other thing that I would say is that Bayern Munich would have gone into Dortmund playing against Borussia Dortmund in front of those fans, and that would have made a difference. But now, given the current circumstances that we're in, well, that doesn't quite play a part any longer. And so whatever advantage you thought Dortmund had, that advantage is now gone. I repeat, I think Bayern Munich is their own enemy. If they're competing against themselves, and any sort of serious, full, solid performance from Bayern Munich would be too good for Borussia Dortmund.
Interesting sentiments there, Simba, coming up from Alejandro Moreno. He believes that Bayern Munich are without doubt the better team. But you take a look at Borussia Dortmund, I think they've closed the gap from the last couple of seasons. And in Erling Haaland, they have got the hottest sharp shooter in Europe right now. The bad thing is, in Bayern Munich's ranks is Robert Lewandowski, and he's been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. I think the tail of the tape on both of them sees the predatory instincts of Mr. Lewandowski now, I think, closing in on 30 goals for the season, and with a strike rate of close to a goal every 82 or so minutes. What's only more phenomenal is the fact that Erling Haaland has come up to the big leagues and actually bettered that strike rate by scoring almost every 69 minutes. So that's where it kind of looks like it's balanced out. He's shown that he's a striker that doesn't go on too long of a prolonged drought. That adds again to the side minute. I suppose people are looking to see, is this a changing of the guard? Because with Lewandowski, he also has those Dortmund roots, looking to it and thinking, is this the guy that eventually, like what Alois alluded to, might come back maybe a season down the line to replace me at Bayern Munich? Because that's how usually Bayern Munich do their business. But in terms of the actual match, the real thing that make us want to talk about it is the fact that this is being played on Dortmund's patch. That's where they seem to be getting the better of them. Otherwise, the last back-to-back results have been 9 straight goals without reply away from home. So maybe this is what kind of balances it out. But without the yellow wall, like they've said, it could be a long, long night for them. But we are hoping, because that's where everybody who loves football is going to be glued on this evening, whichever way you're going to tune into that broadcast, because it's the first top-end match that is being on offer since the COVID crisis struck football and indeed the rest of the sporting world.
Alois, we saw Bayern Munich concede 2 goals this past weekend when they played Eintracht Frankfurt. 2 goals from set pieces, and they haven't looked entirely solid defensively. Even in that opening game, I think, in which they played, was it Union Berlin in the return from the coronavirus, but their defense wasn't exactly watertight. They afforded them 1 or 2 sniffs at goal, and Borussia Dortmund may be encouraged by this.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Mike. When you look at Borussia Dortmund, their strength actually lies in their attack. When they go forward, they are actually very potent. And you actually look at players like Erling Haaland, like we have said, and everybody has said, he looks a sure bet to score one goal a game. So when we have a situation with Bayern Munich with a vulnerable defense, as we have noticed recently, I think that they stand a chance. This is a chance. If there was no corona and we had gone on to continue with the Bundesliga, I think Bayern Munich could have wrapped it up. But this coronavirus, I think actually the break actually has given Dortmund a chance to close the game, and can actually feel that this is a chance for them to actually close it. So I feel that they will be given a chance to score. As long as they stay solid at the back, they have a chance to beat Bayern Munich.
Barry, one of the unsung heroes for Bayern Munich is Thomas Muller. We saw in that returning game versus Union Berlin, he had an assist. We saw this past weekend as well. He had an assist, fantastic assist by for Leon Goretzka, and he was also on the score sheet in that 5-2 thumping win for Bayern Munich. You take a look at his stats for this season: 17 assists. That's more than anyone else in the major leagues of Europe, more than Lionel Messi, more than Kevin De Bruyne, who of course are the leading assist merchants in Europe. And he's also added 7 goals as well. This is a guy who's underappreciated and sometimes underrated.
Underappreciated, underrated. He has the native ability of looking awkward and elegant all at the same time, which is bizarre. Because the way that he's awkward stems from his play, and then also just the way he looks, his outlook, awkward. But when he's got the ball at his feet, when he's doing his role in the team, and I say role in the team because he's also got a very awkward role in the team because he pops up in between the lines and you can't pinpoint his position, and they gave it a specific name to define the Muller role in Bayern Munich. So the fact that he's got 17 assists means that it's actually working. He's a phenomenal footballer, and he's an X-factor player because of the fact that he can pop up with an assist and also get a goal. He is the X-factor, and unfortunately, even if he is the deciding factor in this game, chances are he won't be rewarded for it.
Okay, let's give you your Bundesliga fixtures. Action tonight: Bayer Leverkusen versus Wolfsburg, Eintracht Frankfurt entertain Freiburg, Werder Bremen versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. Werder Bremen surprising many by bagging all 3 points this past weekend. And then the pick of the fixtures, no doubt, der Klassiker, Borussia Dortmund welcome Bayern Munich to the Westfalenstadion, which leaves only your predictions, gents, starting with Alois. Your predictions for tonight?
2-1 to Borussia Dortmund. Is going down the wire.
2-1 Dortmund. Barry, you're a Bayern Munich fan?
Yeah, and I'm voting with head and heart. 3-1 to Bayern Munich.
3-1 Bayern Munich. Siba?
2-2.
2-all draw.
Yes.
Well, that should be a thrilling affair because 3 goals from Alois, 4 goals from Barry, 4 goals from Simba, and another 3 goals from me. I'm going with a 2-1 Borussia Dortmund win. And so whichever way, all 4 of us seeing plenty of goals in tonight's encounter.
The Nerazzurri, the Black and Blues, Inter Milan.
It's Romelu Lukaku, and it was never in doubt. He's a beast at the best of times, but this season he has become a monster.
The Giallorossi, the Yellow and Reds, AS Roma.
Velotti has a go! Tremendous hits! That's what he's capable of.
La Viola, the Purple Ones, Fiorentina.
Franck Ribéry seals a glorious win for Fiorentina with a sumptuous goal at San Siro.
The Bianconeri, the Black and Whites, Juventus.
Ronaldo seals yet another 3 points for Juventus.
Tough yet colourful. The best of Italian football on Z.
Let's give you a quick update out of Italy and then jump into Spain before we wrap it up in England. And in Italy, AC Milan have insisted Zlatan Ibrahimovic suffered a calf injury in training on Monday after reports he had a suspected ruptured Achilles. There were fears the reported injury could have brought an end to his long career in the game, with his Milan contract set to expire in the summer after signing a short-term deal in January. My goodness, at that age, They don't make those parts anymore. Let's look at Spain, where Atletico Madrid winger Angel Correa on Monday said that a return to football is what we all need ahead of a possible La Liga restart in mid-June. League President Javier Tebas on Sunday said he hopes the Spanish season can resume with the Seville derby on June the 11th, after Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said La Liga could return on June the 8th. Let's wrap it up now in England, where Premier League clubs are expected to give the go-ahead to the introduction of Phase 2 of training tomorrow, prompting hopes that a date for a return to competition could be agreed by end of the week. The Liga received government approval to progress to the next stage of Project Restart, enabling competitive and close contact training, including tackling in groups of up to 12 players. This is progress, isn't it, Alois? We're watching England with interest because of the fact that England is probably the best broadcast, the best marketed league, and we all want to see England restart.
Yeah, we were getting a little bit excited. At least there's a step in the right direction. Right direction meaning that restart of football in England. Everybody looks at the English Premiership, as the epitome, as the upper top, the toppest. If you want to say, when it comes to club football. So we want them to restart. So they need to get back to training. We spoke about it. Let's face it head on, guys. Let's play, because otherwise, if we wait for zero and positive coronavirus thing, then we won't start. We will never start. Look at Germany. The goalkeeper gets positive. Should we go back and say let's not play because one goalkeeper has tested positive? We cannot. Let's just carry on. So England set the example. Germany has done it. We see it happening. We're excited. We're actually seeing the derby in Germany today. So let's get it going. Let's play. Mike said it. It's safer at the stadium than at home.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Simba, this is almost a version of our World War. And in World War I, I think it was World War II, they had a statement in England where they said, keep calm and carry on. And that's what we want England to do right now, isn't it?
You'll remember these days, won't you, Barry?
When you start saying...
I knew that was coming up.
When you start saying keep calm, you're bringing us back to the issue of my t-shirts again, so steer clear of that. I can see those headlines coming back up. But on the real, I think we get excited because I think for also different reasons. You touched on the fact that it's a league that people want to look at and it's best marketed. And for me, I think the reality of it setting in is the fact that it allows a lot of people who've got unresolved fantasy issues to actually start getting stuck in.
Oh my God. Trust you to look at the fantasy advantage. Fantasy football will also return with the Premier League. Yes, everybody, get your fantasy teams ready. Who knows? Maybe your captain, your triple captain, might be caught positive with corona. Let's pray not. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Come on, Bayern, der Klassiker. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.
And it's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
The biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.